everybody, we're live.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to call to order this meeting of the Site Plan Review and Appearance Board, Wednesday, December 11th, 2024. I'm Annette Gray, your board chair. Rochelle, can we have a roll call, please?
Sure. Linda Perdeau is absent. Annette Gray?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have to put you last. Sorry. Robert Lewis?
Here.
Christina Morrison?
Here.
Linda Perdeau is absent. Wensky Villeneuve?
Here.
And Jose Alvarez.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item is approval of agenda. Are there any changes, modifications, or additions, deletions to the agenda? Can I get approval for the agenda, please?
Motion to approve as is.
Can I get a second?
Second.
I have a first and a second. Roll call.
Second.
Linda Perdeau is absent. Jose Alvarez?
Yes.
Robert Lewis?
Yes.
Christina Morrison?
Yes.
I missed Keith Beal.
Yes.
Thank you. Wensky Villeneuve
Yes.
and Annette Gray.
Yes.
Thank you.
We have one set of minutes from October 23, 24. Are there any changes, modifications, or deletions from the minutes?
No, motion to approve as is.
Can I get a second?
Second.
I have a first and a second.
Linda Perdeau is absent. Jose Alvarez?
Yes.
Robert Lewis?
Yes.
Christina Morrison?
Yes.
Keith Beal?
Yes.
Wensky Villeneuve?
Yes.
Annette Gray?
Yes. Okay, at this time, is there anyone, or I'd like to call all participants in the meeting to be sworn in. Anyone who would be speaking on any agenda item or public comments, please be sworn in. Please rise.
Please raise your right hand. By the authority vested in me as a notary of the state of Florida, do you swear or affirm that the Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Please be seated.
Okay. Are there any public comments? Anyone in the public that would like to comment on any non-agenda items tonight? Okay, seeing none, we've closed public comments. We have no presentations, item 7, and we have no consent agenda. So at this time, I will read the quasi-judicial hearing rules that guides this board. This hearing shall be conducted in accordance with the City of Delray Beach quasi-judicial rules. The applicant and the city shall be permitted to present their case. The public shall be allowed to speak for 3 minutes each, or a maximum of 6 minutes if the person represents an organization or group of people who are present but agree not to speak. The city commission, board, member, staff, and the applicant may be allowed to cross-examine a witness. The city or the applicant will be allowed to offer rebuttal testimony. The decision to approve or deny an application or appeal may not legally be made upon personal views as to whether a project is good project or not, nor may a decision be made based on the numbers of citizens who support or oppose the particular project. The law requires that all decisions must be made on the basis of whether the project meets the requirements of law, the comprehensive plan, and the land development regulations. Okay, so that brings us to our first agenda item. And Ms. Rodriguez, can you please present that item for the record?
Yes. So I'll state for the record, my name is Susie Rodriguez. I am a senior planner for Delray Beach. I would like to enter file number 2025-043 into the record. This is for agenda item 9A, which is the consideration for a level 1 color and material change. The applicant is here today to present.
Okay, we invite the applicant to start the presentation. In the meantime, has been there any ex parte communication with the board members?
No.
No?
No, I know the site well, but other than that, no.
Okay. All right, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hi, good evening, everyone. Let me introduce myself. My name is Nicholas Kerben. I own the new concept Gesto, but a little bit of history. I own the Elmar Mediterranean Bistro on the Ave that used to be located there. Obviously, a few months ago, we outgrew this restaurant after being there for 3-4 years. We took the opportunity to take on the old Mellow Mushroom. We moved our restaurant there 3 months ago, and now we have a bigger location there. This location still, we have it leased for another 6-7 years, so we decided to turn it into an Italian concept. We have a wood-burning oven there, so we're renovating the inside, just more FF&E, color, lighting, tiles, bathroom, refresh, and then trying to give it also the facade, a new concept, new color scheme, a new sign. Okay, I think I know how to do this. Okay, so this is the new facade look. It used to be, everyone knows that it used to be the mustard look, obviously, with the black. Now we're turning into a little bit black. We're not changing anything other than the color. There's no really material per se changes. It's just painting the facade, new, obviously, sign. Even the awning is black. We're just changing the lip, whatever you say, that goes down. We're just changing this to this kind of black and white to give it an Italian look. Some color scheme inside, obviously. The inside, obviously, we're spending a little money, just to refresh. There's definitely changes in the tile. The flooring is changing. You can see the flooring, the inside. There's the nice pattern of flooring. That's how it's going to look. Obviously, it's going to be very nice. Changing the banquette, obviously, from the color to, so there's a black wall tile, there's pendant new lights, chandeliers, and there's a red vinyl look inside. That's really the concept of the restaurant. It's a pizzeria, so it's the concept is a artisan pizzeria, wood burning, sourdough, pizza, great ingredients, just pizza, a little wine, a little appetizers. This is not an Italian restaurant. I think we have enough on the Ave. It's really a pizzeria, and that's all it's going to be. This is just kind of the West dining room, just again, it's mostly colored chandeliers. Tables and chairs remain. There's really no reason to change that. The back area, obviously, the walls all going to be really retiled, and then the ceiling, a new paint in the ceiling, new chandelier, pizza oven. We're retiling pizza oven. It's going to make it brand new and kind of beautiful look with the red. It's really a red, white, and black kind of color scheme. All the walls going to be retiled. All the way down, you go to the bathroom in the back, all going to be black and white retile, clean look. These are the chandeliers that are going to replace the old chandeliers. We're talking, nothing is really old, it's only 3 years old, but we gotta make it change. This is some of the artwork on the walls. This is the artwork on the ceiling. We're gonna have a painter comes and do this to the ceiling to give it that kind of artistic look. Don't worry about her, she's not coming. And this is the bathroom. We're also refinishing the bathrooms. When I took over 4 years ago, Scuola Vecchia, which used to be a pizzeria, I changed everything. It was a complete cut out. We left the bathroom at that point. It was COVID, and we felt that the bathroom were okay. But now, obviously, after 4 years again, they're pretty outdated. So we're retiling and new fixtures in the bathroom. And I think that's it. Just as far as, this is a brand identity. This is more for the designers. What is the concept about gesto in Italian? The gestures, so that was the concept about this is the artwork that we're going to use, obviously, for branding, for the menus, for the website. This is our logo. This is our sign. All this will be used into the website and social media. Yep. These were original looks that, we obviously didn't have to go, but we decided to go with the one that's a little bit more subtle, I would say. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Ms. Rodriguez for the city.
Again, this is for a level 1 color and material change for the Gesto restaurant. The property located at 522 East Atlantic Avenue has a land use designation of commercial core and is zoned CBD Central Core Subdistrict. It is fronting a primary street, Atlantic Avenue, and is within the required retail frontage area, the Atlantic Avenue Parking District, and the limited height area. The full property consists of 2,481 square feet, single-story, square foot single-story commercial building, which was built in 1938, and it contains 7 bays. The bay specific to this application was formerly the Amar restaurant, and on September 23rd, 2020, SPRAB approved the color change to this yellow on the wood cladding and then the dark gray on the trim and the windows, and this is what's currently existing. The proposed colors is black for the body of the structure, red along the trim and the window frames, and black and white striped for the awning. So typically level 1 applications are reviewed administratively. However, pursuant to LDR section 211B, the director has the authority to elevate applications for board review. It has been determined that the color change to black is inconsistent with its surrounding, and SPRAB shall make the final decision of that for the application. The following criteria shall be considered. The structure needs to be in conformity with good taste and design. It shall not materially depreciate the environment in appearance or in value, and should be harmonious with the general area. The building style is Main Street vernacular, which, depending on the time of construction, is typically a simple design with minimal ornamentation. Colors associated vary depending on location and the time period, and darker colors can be seen in the style. However, given the context of the site, the darker color may split the building and create a type of void. The site would benefit with some softer or warmer tones. The board should consider whether the heavy use of black is appropriate in the downtown area, given the context of the surroundings, and does the modification contribute to the main street's character as the village by the sea? DDA has reviewed this application this past Monday on December 9th, and they recommended approval unanimously. These are your board actions, and this concludes my presentation.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone in the audience that has any comments regarding this agenda item? Okay, seeing none, we move to the board. Mr. Beal, can I start with you?
Sure. I kind of agree with staff that the black, I think, is really inappropriate for the Atlantic Avenue. If I remember correctly, I think I was in the audience when Amar was getting approved, and I think that was trying to get a dark black color as well. And the board recommended against that at that time. And I think I'm of the same opinion at this time as well. I think the black's inappropriate for Atlantic Avenue in that block.
Okay, Bob?
Chair, sorry, just want to make sure the applicant, did you have any cross-examination or rebuttal to the staff's presentation?
What do you mean? I'm sorry.
After the presentations are concluded, you have the opportunity for cross-examination or rebuttal, and just want to make sure that there wasn't any additional information or evidence you wanted to present.
No, at this point.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
I
Great.
mean,
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Sorry to
Okay,
interrupt.
no worries. Mhm.
I was done with my
Mr.
comments.
Lewis?
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I just think the black, for that, especially that block, when you look across the street and see the hotel there, and it's the color of the original building, I think black is just going to stand out so much that it's just kind of ruins the block. I can understand why you might want it black, because then that restaurant stands out from anything else on the block. But I don't think that is an appropriate color. I don't have a problem with the trim red and stuff like that if you go back to a more neutral kind of beige or yellowish type color.
That it? Okay.
Yes.
How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with the design. It looks nice, but I have to agree, just contextually, it feels like it doesn't fit. You know, I was taking a look at some of the other restaurants on the Ave. You know, for example, Hawkers has like a very similar color palette, but the black is a little bit more toned down. It's not the entire facade of the building. So, yeah, I think it's just a little bit too. The contrast is too noticeable with the entire facade being black, in my opinion.
Okay. Christine?
First of all, Nicholas, what you've done with the mellow mushroom, you've made it into an urban garden, and it was absolutely breathtaking. So thank you so much for that. It's beautiful. On this one, can you explain why you chose black?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Am I allowed to answer some of the comments?
Am I allowed to? I'm sorry. Am I
Not
allowed?
typically, but go ahead. It's a short meeting.
I mean, first, Mr. Beal, I don't recall presenting any black in the past. I mean, I don't know where that came from. The original Amar was always mustard. There was pushback during COVID. I remember on Zoom, and at the end, that was approved. There was no reason to say no, even though I think 2 out of the 6 said no. So there was never a black. The Amar color scheme is earth tone, is the light mustard, is the green, is the brown, is very Mediterranean. In this one, I mean, first, I do believe it needs to stand out. That's why Amar was successful, and when everyone wanted everything to be looked, when you walk by Amar, people look, it's like, wow, that was nice. The mustard was a bit different for the array. The idea was to give it a look like you're in New York, you're in Soho, a little bit different. You know, you'll find stuff like that in Spain or Italy. So I wanted to be a little bit different than what everyone else, because if you paint this pastel and white, then it becomes like everything else, and that's not what we do. I mean, personally, we want to be different.
Okay.
So I think the color scheme of this restaurant is red, black, pretty much. I mean, that's it. You saw another image here. If you want to go with this, I'm the one who pushed back, even though the designer wanted that look.
The green?
So, no.
No.
Like a blue?
Can you go back to the second presentation? Yeah, this one. So, you know, when the designer put together the design, and obviously we had to, from the inside outside, there was a lot of discussion regarding color scheme. And I felt like this probably will pass SPRAB, you know, your committee. I felt that this is really too much for the city. So if black is not going to work, we'll go with that. I mean, I'm happy with that, definitely. I don't personally believe this is more subtle than the black. Any color, mustard doesn't look, it's not our color scheme. You know, pastel is not our color scheme. Beige is not our color scheme. So we have to design something that goes with the concept of what we're trying to do. Hawkers, I understand Hawkers, but Hawkers has 4 times the facade, so you can play with it. But you go back to, I mean, you guys just approved a hot pink facade for the hula. You know, I mean, if this is a problem, then I think hot pink is a bigger problem, in my opinion, for a facade. Elisabetta has black as well. So there's no, I get your feedback here, but there's really no guidelines, in my opinion. Okay, I'm opening next month here. Okay, I mean, I gotta catch the thing. So if there's a guideline from this committee from the start, everyone on the app has to follow these 3 colors, then I would not have presented something. But the idea that now I've been through this for the last 2 or 3 months, and then the rebuttal is things more about the corner. Is this corner different than the Elisabetta corner? I mean, I don't say it's all Atlantic Ave. This is done very tastefully, in my opinion. I'm not talking, I mean, the design of the restaurant, the facade, everything we do is an upgrade to everything has been done.
Okay.
So, you know, I mean, it's really more about what makes sense. The restaurant has to tick all the boxes, from design, from food, from ambiance.
Yep.
You know, it just...
Okay.
Am I allowed to just mention something quickly? The Rockahula application is ongoing, still not approved yet. So just to highlight this.
Sorry,
Thank you.
my information is different, but
Okay.
Okay, so this reminds me of the North End in Boston, where it's all Italian and everyone is distinct. You know, they all have their distinct facades. I agree that your facade will be very distinct, but black is a bit extreme for a coastal village, and I still think we are the village by the sea. I know not everybody agrees with me anymore.
I love
but I
I
really
love the
think,
city, you know
me
that.
too.
Yeah.
I know. I can
Yeah.
tell you do.
Yeah.
So I think the black's a little extreme. If we could tone it back, I love the red trim. I think, and the striped awning is very distinctive. So I think those distinctions will help you. But I just think the black's a little too much. Thank you.
Okay.
I do agree with what they have to say. I do think the black is too bold compared to the building adjacent or next to it, I would say. I think Elisabetta's and the other restaurants, they have more of a canopy or a bigger storefront to kind of play with, where they can get away with maybe a lot bolder colors. But for you, I would say your storefront is not that big and most of it would just be black, with the exception of a red accent. I do think it's too bold when you compare the buildings next to it.
Any other board comments? Okay. So I understand your concept. I understand your intentions. But we're guided by, is it in line with the surrounding area? Interestingly enough, you have all three of my favorite colors in on this design. I, however, can't go on my personal opinion, right? And I do understand having the brand throughout, but since this is not necessarily a corporate brand and this is a design choice, and it is not necessarily in line with the surrounding area, I think we do need to go back to the drawing board on the facade. And as to your question, the alternative being this stark red, I don't think that's the answer either. The second photo you showed us. Yeah. Again, there's a reason why we chose the branding City by the Sea. And there are ways to stand out that doesn't necessarily is as jarring as the black. So those are my comments.
So, may I?
May I just add one thing? I think your sign alone will make it a very distinction, because it's a different typeset, it's a different color. I think your sign alone will make you distinct. The black would.
So, okay, I hear you, and I respect your opinion. I'm gonna just ask you here to work with me to get me to a solution, because time is an essence right now, and not only time essence. The sign has been submitted for approval as well, and the sign has been approval based on a black background. The sign is red. Now, also that could be delayed. So, maybe you want to give me a suggestion here and tell me what will work so I can go and big drawing and we're not
before you even jump in here.
I have my mic on.
I saw him scooting up to the microphone. It's unfortunate that we cannot.
Okay.
We cannot. But I do trust staff wholeheartedly, and typically this would not have come to us if it had not been for this starking dark color. So I think you can still work with staff to get to where we need to be. But what we cannot do as a board is give you any specific recommendations.
I would say that, as in general, I get the feeling from the board that there's no problem with the color choices, but it's just maybe the amount.
Well, I mean,
right, particularly of the black, right? So I think that's.
No, I get it, but just, I mean, whatever you see right now in mustard has to be back one color, whatever I decide, because this is all together, kind of the material. So, there's one color for this, whatever we decide on, and there's obviously the vitrine or whatever you call it, which could be the entrance and all that. This is one color. You cannot, what if I do black up, I don't think it's going to work. You know what I mean? So it has to be one color, and we have to agree on a color that works. So we don't go back and forth, because pretty much the contractors are in. I mean, I'm done inside, by the way, next week. So everything is going to be wait on this. Right now, I have contractors going to wait a month to get another approval, and that's delaying this. If I don't open it by end of January, then I might not open. There's no reason for me to open. I'm going to open in April to do what? So, there's a business decision here. You guys need to help me with that. And again, you can sit and tell me what doesn't work. Maybe you need to tell me what works. I mean, because it's really not fair for me to come and spend all this time not knowing what are the guidelines. The city has to agree on a guideline.
Sir, let me just interject. We pretty much have a consensus on the board. And legal is here. He'll tell us that we cannot give you the specificity that you're looking for.
Yeah, what I usually refer to that is design from the dais. And so the board cannot design your project for you, and the board cannot say if it was, Benjamin Moore blue that it'd be fine. For several different reasons, but they cannot do that. They can only evaluate the application that's before them. But I do think the chair made a valid point, and I can ask Rafiq to confirm. But if the black appears it's not going to be approved and you're going to have to modify that, it could still be approved administratively as a level 1. So you may not have to come back to the board if you're able to present or modify your application in a way that the administrative staff is comfortable approving it. So it's not an automatic 1 month delay until SPRAB meets again, depending on what you present to staff or work with staff. So I just would point that out as well.
Yeah, I would agree. If the reason that this level 1 application is elevated to the board is actually basically the color. So think of it as any relief as well. So if the reason is not existing anymore, so the application can proceed administratively.
Right.
Can you pull up the board actions, please?
Yeah, I would just recommend that the board, I would not deny the application, because then they have to resubmit and filing fees, and it kind of loses its place in line. I would just either postpone, maybe not even with direction, because this could be reviewed administratively, but you could postpone with direction would be, I think, the most appropriate. And then there's no waivers or heightened notice requirements, so it doesn't need to be to a date certain to avoid any type of re-advertisement. And then hopefully the applicant, works with staff so it can proceed administratively, and there's no need for it to actually come back to this board potentially.
Okay, who is comfortable making that a motion?
I'll make a motion to continue, defer with direction.
Second.
I have a first and a second. That was Mr. Lewis, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, Linda Perdeau is absent. Jose Alvarez,
Yes.
Robert Lewis,
Yes.
Christina Morrison,
Yes.
Keith Beal,
Yes.
Wensky Villanois,
Yes.
Annette Wright.
Yes. Thank you, and we
Okay,
do
thank-
appreciate the work you do here for us.
Thank you.
Okay, so that moves us to item 1B,
9B.
9B. And let's see. Roland?
It's going to be me.
Oh, okay,
Today,
all right,
yes.
great.
So,
Please introduce the item.
Sure. So for the records, Rafiq Ibrahim, Principal Current Planning. I would like to enter to the file, to the agenda records today, file number 2024-148 for 238 Southeast 1st Ave, exterior renovation, a level 1 application with 2 landscape waiver, and this would be agenda item 9B, and the applicant is here to present.
Okay, thank you. Are there any ex parte communications to be disclosed?
No.
Nope.
Nope.
Okay, none for me either.
I saw the property today.
Hi, good evening. My name is John Welchel. I am the managing partner for Wiley Properties, the owner of this property. I live in Boca Raton at 23429 Rio Del Mar Drive, Boca Raton, Florida. I want to thank you for the opportunity to present our vision of the Wiley apartment building.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Just want to make sure I heard correctly. Ms. Morrison, you said you sold this property today?
No, I saw it.
Saw. Okay.
Yeah, I went and inspected it. I didn't sell it.
Whoa,
Two-
Mr.
how much you get for
Welchel
it?
Two
give it to
very
me to
different
sell,
things.
So I did it.
Sorry,
My
I
mother would
misheard.
probably sell
Thank
that.
you.
That's fast work
My-
there, Christina.
my
Sell it
apologies.
yesterday in front of the board today.
Thank you for the opportunity to present our vision for the Wiley apartment. Our goal in this project is to create a cohesive and visually appealing exterior aesthetic that harmonizes with the unique charm of the city of Delray Beach. We're committed to aligning this project with the city's standards and values, but we face certain existing condition hardships that necessitate the waivers we're requesting today. We firmly believe these waivers are essential to address those challenges while maintaining the integrity of the city's aesthetic and functional expectations. Furthermore, we've worked diligently to propose reasonable equivalences that bridge the gap between these existing hardships and the land development rights or land development regulation requirements. To provide those detailed explanation of these waivers and our approach to meeting the city standards, I'd like to introduce Kellen Desmain from Desmain Engineering, who has been instrumental in guiding us through the technical and regulatory aspects of this project. Mr. Desmain will walk you through the specifics of our request and demonstrate how they align with the city's vision. Thank you, and I'll turn it over to Kellen.
Thanks, Jay. All right. So, yeah, I'm Kellen Desmain. I'm a civil engineer. Just want to thank everyone for taking the time to listen to our presentation today. I know it's a busy time of year, so we'll get going. So we're presenting the exterior renovations on 238 Southeast First Ave. As Jay mentioned, Wiley Properties is the owner. Landscape architect is Wayne Toning. I'm the civil engineer. Mike and Lander Talbot are also part of the ownership, and they're here with us today. The property data, address 238 Southeast First Ave. The total lot size is 13,654 square feet. Land use is residential multifamily, and the density is 10 dwelling units. So the property is surrounded by similar multifamily properties that are both on Swinton and First Ave. So we feel that our property is not out of place. It kind of blends in with the surrounding area. Furthermore, there's currently an active construction project directly south on our southern common property line for a multifamily development. And then to the east a little further is the project known as Delray Swan, also multifamily. Okay, so the existing conditions, the building and parking lot were originally constructed in 1972. As you know, the city had their land development regulations come into play in 1990. The front setbacks, the building was constructed slightly askew from parallel to the property lines, and this kind of created some additional setbacks on the property. The front setback has a surplus of approximately 5 feet. The rear has a surplus of approximately 12 feet. The north surplus of approximately 5 feet, and the south, where the parking lot is, has a surplus of about 37 feet. So this color exhibit shows the landscaped areas in relation to the building and the parking lot area. You can see the north side of the building is heavily buffered with landscaped area. The project does not propose an increase in impervious space. The improvements are all existing conditions, and the project scope is strictly restoration and repair. So the hardships that the site presents are strictly based on existing conditions. The building and existing sidewalk leave a minimum of 43.24 feet and a maximum of 44.96 feet from the face of the walk, which you can see. Oh, you push this one. It's like right that walk there. From the face of the walk to the southern property line. So if we add up the total dimensions required for the parking and the landscape buffer, which would be a 24-foot driveway, an 18-foot parking stall depth, and then the 5-foot landscape barrier, we would need 47 feet. As you can see, there's a deficiency of approximately 2 feet to 3 3/4 feet that we need. In addition, there's an old growth oak tree that's existing in an existing landscape island, and that's the image of the oak there. And we believe that any disturbance to that landscape island would be an adverse impact to that tree. Okay, so the waiver requests are landscape related. We're requesting 2 waivers, one towards the LDR section 4.6.16 H3I, and this is the minimum landscape requirements for new multifamily commercial and industrial developments. This has a requirement for landscape islands to be 9 feet wide and 135 square feet of planting area. The second waiver is the LDR section 4.6.16 H3D. This is the requirement for landscape barriers between off-street parking and abutting properties, and this is a 5-foot wide landscape barrier requirement along the property line. Okay, so we provided equivalencies in the design that we believe will replace requirements with no adverse impact to the adjacent properties nor creating an unsafe environment. The southern landscape barrier is proposed to have a continuous cocoa plum hedge varying in width from approximately 36 inches to 14 inches. The hedge will be 36 inches in height. The planting proportion of a 14 by 36 inch cocoa plum is standard practice and offers sustainable plant dimensions. Furthermore, the Simpson stopper trees will be located between the stalls to avoid conflicts with the parked cars. Native materials are proposed in an effort to lower maintenance and offer heat and drought resistant plant materials. The western property line, there's a small pinch point where the existing improvements encroach slightly into the landscape buffer, creating an area circled there in red of a reduced landscaped width of 4.95 feet. So essentially we're half an inch off there. Below is the cross section of the parking and landscape area on the southern portion, showing that we're maintaining the 24-foot required drive width and then providing a 16-foot paved parking stall and a 2-foot unpaved vehicular overhang, totaling 18 total feet to meet the engineering requirements for parking stalls. The next equivalency is related to the southern landscape island. This is where the existing old growth oak tree is to remain. The existing island provides 75 square feet of planting area, which we will be putting cocoa plum, sod, and mulch. The ground cover next to the parking will be sod in an effort to lower maintenance and provide clearance for doors. There's also going to be white PVC fencing with planting material visible from the road. So the fence improvements are proposed VECA privacy fence products. They have NOAs related to them. The product is a white PVC fencing that will provide a bright, clean look to the property and will be screened by cocoa plum material where visible from the road. Also, there's a proposed dumpster enclosure that is going to be screened on the sides with cocoa plum material as well, essentially doubling the screening requirements for the dumpster. The building exterior. The building is painted in a Chantilly lace to seal and protect the structure and to beautify the appearance. The stair handrail was also replaced to meet safety and aesthetic requirements. So in conclusion, as mentioned by Jay, our goal is to create an aesthetically pleasing project that matches the beauty of Delray. We believe the waivers requested are required to provide a complete design, and we also believe that we've provided reasonable waiver equivalencies to overcome the hardships. And that's all we have.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, once again, Rafiq Ibrahim, Principal Current Planning, entering file number 2024-148 for 238 Southeast First Ave, consideration of a level 1 site plan modification with 2 landscape waivers. I'll try not to repeat what the applicant mentioned. So the address 238 Southeast First Ave, and this is land use designation medium density residential, and the zoning is RM, medium density residential district. As you see that towards the east, this is the CBD, Central Core, and this is where the Delray Swan project was approved. There is another proposal now, I guess, coming, and the entire block itself is RM, although it's worth mentioning that within the RM zoning district, single family dwellings are also permitted by right, so we'll just highlight this. And towards the west, there is an R1A zoning district, and the current use is multifamily, 10 dwelling units, constructed 1972, and then more modifications, and with the recent one, interior renovation 2022, and the area in the red box is actually the area where the scope of work is. Quickly highlighting the 2 waivers, and this is actually the proposed site plan, and the waiver in blue, light color. This is the waiver 1, south and west, and then the waiver 2 is actually in the landscape island adjacent to the road. This request is involving exterior renovation, fence, installation of a fence, and dumpster enclosure, restriping of the parking, and the color, as you can see here, is a Chantilly lace. This is the proposed color, white, and the accent color is very light gray. The dumpster, the handrail, the fence, and this is the request. And the 2 landscape waivers, we'll speak about them in details. So this is a level 1 site plan applications, and level 1 is usually approved administratively unless if there is a reason, like the other one that we saw earlier. The director decided to elevate it, but in this case, SPRAB, pursuant to section 216E1, can actually act on level 1 applications if there are some requests associated with it, 1, 2, 3, and in this case the waivers to to landscape regulations, section 4616 is requested. This is why we are seeing this application today. Formal findings are not required overall for level 1 applications. Formal findings are actually in chapter 3, where you can see it in other applications 2, 3, 4, which is basically like the concurrency and the site-specific standards. The waiver findings are actually addressed in LDR section 2411B5. These are the general findings of a waiver. So the board shall make finding that granting of the waiver shall not adversely affect the neighborhood nor significantly diminish the provision of public facilities or unsafe situations or grant of a special privilege. These are the waiver general findings. Now the requested waiver. The waiver 1 is to section 4616 H3D, which is basically any vehicular or parking area shall be buffered by 5 feet landscape buffer from the neighboring or adjacent properties. And it is also worth mentioning that there is when there is an overhang, car overhang over this, it should be 7 feet. And in our case, there is a car overhang. The car overhang is existing situation because the parking lot should be 18 feet in length, and this existing one is 16, so it is existing non-conformity. This is why it is part of the waiver request. And we can see the dimension here. This is an enlarged portion of the site plan. At the narrow part is 2.3 and the width, the wide part is 4.3. And this is the portion towards the western boundary of the property, 4.95. And this is basically the waiver 1 request to section 4616 H3D. The second waiver is to section 4616 H3I, landscape island, which is basically requiring this landscape island to be of 9 feet in width, which is not. It's currently 467, and it has the large existing oak tree, which is this one. And the request is to reduce the 9 feet into 467. And I think the applicant spoke about the trees. There are 2 types of trees, Simpson stopper towards the south landscape area, and the crepe myrtle is actually towards the west boundary, and the red tip cocoa plum is actually the shrubs all around. And this is basically the landscape proposal, highlighting the trees and the location. And this would the board actions, and this will conclude my presentation today.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to make any public comments regarding this agenda item at this time? Okay, seeing none, public comments are closed. And sir, are there any rebuttals or statements that you would like to make regarding staff presentation?
No rebuttal. I just want to, emphasize that these are existing conditions that we're just trying to, accommodate with to get the project approved. So that's it.
Okay, staff?
No rebuttal.
Okay. So onto the board. This time I'll start with Winsky.
Yes. I don't know if you mentioned, but how tall was the fence, the PVC fence?
It's 6 or 8. 6 foot
So it'll
fence.
be behind or in front of the edges?
The fence will be on property line, and then in front of the fence, wherever visible from road, will be planted with cocoa plum.
Yeah, I don't see any issues with it.
Morrison?
Thank you for cleaning up that property. Your group has done a great job in helping that block to be revived and regenerated, so thank you very much. It looks much cleaner than it did a little while ago. It looks like to me that they have a site that had these existing conditions, 16-foot parking spaces, a smaller than normal driveway, and they're just trying to make the best of it. I have no problems with these waivers because they do accommodate the site, and he did save a building rather than tear it down, so I'm in favor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Alvarez?
Just to confirm, is there anything preventing the landscape island from growing, I guess, to the west? Like,
Yeah, so the parking is fairly tight on site, and towards the western corner, you see that chevroned out area.
Yep.
That we can't put a parking stall there because of the dumpster enclosure. It just prevents it's physically blocking cars from getting in and out of that space. So we're pretty reduced there on expanding that island.
Understood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, existing conditions, so I see the plant selection is good. I don't have a problem with it.
Okay, Mr. Lewis?
No, I don't have any problem with the granting the waivers.
Okay, Mr. Beal?
Yeah, I'm also in agreement that they're working with a tight spot and I think beautifying it and keeping an existing building. So yeah, no, I'm in favor.
Okay. Any other staff comments? Board comments? I agree with my counterparts. I think the solutions that you've proposed are very reasonable solutions based on what you're working with, and we do appreciate the effort. Okay. Can I ask for a board vote, please?
Move to approve the Level 1 site plan modification for 238 Southeast First Avenue, including 2 landscape waivers for LDR Section 4.6.16 H3D and LDR Section 4.6.16 H3I, by finding that the request is consistent with the comprehensive plan and meets the criteria set forward in the land development regulations.
I have a second?
Second?
I have a first and a second. Can you call roll, please?
Sure. Linda Perdeau is absent. Jose Alvarez?
Yes.
Robert Lewis?
Yes.
Christina Morrison?
Yes.
Keith Beal?
Yes.
Wensky Villanois?
Yes.
Annette Gray?
Yes. Thank you, gentlemen. Have a great night.
Thank you. You too.
All right, so we're on to agenda item 10. Are there any staff comments or reports?
Well, there isn't. Just happy holidays and happy New Year in advance. See you in 2025. Our meetings are scheduled, and it's actually entered into the city calendar the whole year. So if you just want to know, like any month, you want to plan your year, it's all of it, the 12 meeting. Next meeting is January 22nd, and the following one is February 26th. Usually it's the 4th Wednesday of the month, except for November and December for the season's holiday. And that's it for today for me.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any attorney comments?
Only to echo Rafiq's sentiments. I hope you all have an excellent holiday break, safe and relaxing.
Thank you. Any board comments?
Okay. Same thing.
Okay, just thank you to staff for doing a great job, and
Thank you.
also enjoy your holidays. Make it a fun and safe one.
Yes.
With that, I call for an adjournment.
Thank you.
Thank you.